hello, namaskar. This is your host Sarang, and welcome to One Story at a Time. Before going to the podcast, I have a very small reality check for my viewers. In the next 5 to 10 years, everything is going to become AI powered and automated. So even job recruitment is going to be based on skill set and not just mere degree certificates. So one thing I would definitely recommend my viewers to do is upskill yourself, work on projects, work on ideas, and work with teams who are working on innovative projects. Also, in order to completely make this process of collaboration very easy, we have come up with a mobile application called Inovact Social, which is a one-stop social networking platform for students, entrepreneurs, and mentors. I have put the link to the app in the description. Right. So without wasting much time, let's move on to the podcast. We have with us our special guest, Mr. Adarsh Ramesh. Hi Adarsh. How are you? And welcome to One Story at a Time.
Hi, Sarang. Thank you very much for inviting me for this podcast. It's really nice to hear you taking a positive effort in bringing a lot of entrepreneurs together, because that is something that's always been lacking in the ecosystem, where entrepreneurs collaborate with each other for whatever reason. So I think whatever you're doing is fantastic, and I hope more and more people join this forum and we can grow together as a tribe.
Super. Thank you so much, Adarsh. That's basically the entire idea. In order to create an ecosystem or a support system, I think all of us have to come together and work towards a common goal.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just brief about Adarsh to our viewers. There is a very huge list of achievements, but I'll just be talking to my viewers about Adarsh in a very brief manner. So Adarsh is the founder of Project Reach Out, which is a trust which empowers and inspires youth to work on social causes. He's also a designated partner at Inside Out Consultancy, which is a digital marketing firm. And also, Adarsh is the founder of Desiadda, which is a personalized handicraft gift shop, which is based in Mysore. Also, Adarsh is a graduate. He's an engineering graduate from the very famous Jai Chamarajendra College of Engineering. And also, he holds an MBA degree from Myra School of Business, which is also based out of Mysore. Also, interestingly, Adarsh is an author of a crime fiction book called as The Dominion. And Adarsh also holds the runner-up award for the Peter Drucker Challenge. For people who don't know what Peter Drucker Challenge is, it is an international competition, essay competition for students and entrepreneurs. Right. And also, Adarsh is the state topper for both SSLC and second PUC. Right, Adarsh?
Second rank.
Second rank. Amazing. Is there any achievement that I have left out, or is that it?
No, I think it's perfect. You should be, I would need this script so I can send it over for others when they ask my introduction in a brief manner. Yeah.
Right. So Adarsh is a man of a lot of achievements, I believe, and he's one of the smartest and inspiring people I have met. And I think we met during the first lockdown, right?
Yeah.
Adarsh and Project Reach Out had started an initiative to distribute ration to people in slum, correct? So that's when I met Adarsh. So yeah, Adarsh, so shall we start with the podcast? Shall we start with the questions?
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to it. And like you said, meeting you at Project Reach Out was a very interesting experience in the first lockdown when many people were worrying about staying indoors. We said, no, we will go out there and we will do our bit on whatever we can to play an important role in helping people out in different places. I think it was good that we met, and like the butterfly effect, from there it has come here, and looking forward to our discussion today.
Right. And also, I have to say this, it was very satisfying and it made me happy being a part of that volunteership program with Project Reach Out. Well, let's rewind a few years back. Okay, so now you are an engineering student. So tell us tell us more about your engineering life.
So I think engineering was really special, duration, that the 4 years of knowing, all the different people, the different things that one can do, and realizing oneself in those, precious moments. I think any degree, right, undergraduate degree, will kind of cement who you are and what you do for life. People say 10th and PUC and all that are turning points, but I
Correct.
think while they're, I wouldn't call it turning points. Essentially, I would call it a ramp up to what you want to do
Mm.
and where you want to turn. But I think for me, engineering was a really important phase of life, an eye opener for a lot of things that I am today.
Correct. Correct.
Of course, I had a good CET rank, and
Mm.
I was selected into the SJC E&C department in my very first
Mm.
list, and it was a really exciting moment because my father is a professor at JC.
Mm.
In the IP department. He was a professor then, now he's the HOD of the IP department.
Mm.
While it was kind of exciting to be in JC, which is a renowned college, it was kind of a little bit, anxious also because my father was there in the same college.
Correct.
So people recognized me, faculty knew me, a
Correct.
few of them. It's not a place where you get special treatment. It's a place where they all
Mm.
keep an eye on you and then tell ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ and all of that. So
You noticed a lot.
I do, and like I said, it's a different kind. In some places, knowing people will get you to special treatment. Here, it is kind of it was. I thought it would hamper whatever I wanted to do in terms of enjoyment of the engineering life, but good father I have. He never told many people about my existence, and only in the later stages of engineering
Right.
did we get to know. So, which gave me a lot of opportunities to try out different things. I was the first volunteer for everything, and
Mm.
I think that's how my engineering days started.
Right, right, right. I mean, totally interesting. Having a father like yours is very lucky because I have met Vajram sir and I know how you guys are and how supportive they've been to you.
Correct.
Right. And also, I believe you started Project Reach Out while you were in engineering, correct? While you were
Right.
pursuing engineering. Okay, I mean that's very interesting because when a lot of engineering students right now, they are mainly into partying and going on trips, hiking, and a lot of other things. How did you come up with an idea? What was the motivation to start something like that? Tell us more about that and tell us more about that journey.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I think whatever you mentioned, we still did that
Hmm.
outside of Project Reach Out, and even in Project Reach Out, we did parties, but not a different kind of party, and then we went on a lot of treks also from there for team building. So most of the things you mentioned,
Hmm.
we still did that in Project Reach Out, and since you also were a part of it recently, it's a place where there's nothing as a very conventional thing. You friends hang out,
Correct.
you all do good
Hmm.
things together, you all go out for a little break, and then you all do your jokes, and then you play music
Hmm.
while you're working. You all go to movies together. You still hang out, and you still feel that you're with your friends, but
Correct.
you also do good on the side. So it's not a exclusive thing where you say, "Hey, project reach out, no parties, no fun, no enjoyment, only focus on social work." It wasn't
Right.
that way. It
Right.
was a mixture of both worlds where you could kind of be yourself, be with your friends,
Hmm.
but also do good along with it.
Right.
So that's one definition of what
Hmm.
project reach out is. But during in engineering, I think in my second year of engineering, I think right from my 12th standard to, I was very
Hmm.
much interested in writing. So immediately after the second period, when there was a lot of holidays, I used to
Hmm.
read quite a lot of fiction novels,
Right.
most of which included Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle,
Hmm.
and a book called Prisoner of Birth by Jeffrey
Hmm.
Archer, and Cain and
Right.
Abel by Jeffrey Archer. So all of
Hmm.
this kind of made me want to write something on my own, and it kind of triggered the writer side of me, and I
Hmm.
started writing a lot of stories and short
Right.
stories, and started publishing my blog and all of that. So one of my friends in engineering, she took a note of that, and she said, "I'm volunteering here at a non-profit called Sneha Kiran, and
Hmm.
I would like for you to come here and write a
Okay.
play that we could
Okay.
enact for the people here."
Hmm. Hmm.
And by the end of a month or two, I was supposed to deliver a script.
Okay.
That was exciting because I had just started writing and I was
Hmm.
really into it, and I wanted to explore something that I could do by going and being with people,
Hmm.
studying people, and all that. At that moment, my grandfather also was really unwell, So he was at Kamachi Hospital for like I think nearly
Okay.
a month or so, I guess. And during that time, I had a lot of time to sit in the hospital, be with him. I didn't have
Right.
distractions. I don't think there was a 4G revolution back then. Even 3G also wasn't there. So I wasn't really addicted to my phone as much as I
Phone.
might have been if it were now. I think I would have not gone to Sneha Kiran. I would have just binged on certain Netflix shows and I would have missed
Right.
that wonderful trigger point in my life.
Right.
But since I had a lot of time there, I used to think and plan quite a lot of stories in my mind. And also, I would go and volunteer at Sneha Kiran.
Yeah. Correct.
So while there, I felt I could not write a story on my own just by my thoughts. I had to spend time with the children. I need to understand
Correct.
what they were going through. And then I
Correct.
thought I would write it.
Right.
So being spending a lot of time there, it was unreal that some of the kids got attached to me and even a kind of fondness grew.
Right.
So that bond was really very nice. And once we had written the play and all of us had practiced it, and we all enacted it together. In the final part of that play, there is a scene when and I was playing a kid with cerebral palsy. And when I fell on the ground, two, three children got really upset, and then they all came running to
Oh
me.
my.
And then they said, "Anna, enaitu," and all that. And those were also kids with cerebral palsy. So I felt, hey, this is something that I have to do, and it was kind of very interesting realization that I wouldn't call it something like a spark of a moment where everything changed and so on. It was just that I felt a special kind of attention and attraction towards these children who had a very big impact on me because we are blessed with a lot of things. And there, having seen a couple of children with spine problems where they could not sit at all, they had to wear a guard at the back. They could not walk. Some of them they could not hear, they could not see. They could not even speak or comprehend simple basic things like going to the bathroom or eating on their own. It kind of felt, we have to do something over there. And they grew dependent on us more and more, and they started feeling sad when we didn't go there. So after college started, we all couldn't go there, of course, like how we were going during holidays. So we thought Tanvi was the name of the person who introduced me there. She recommended, and both of us thought, well, let's sync the timetables of different branches, and we'll all go there and volunteer and come back.
Right.
And that's how it started. But after a while, there they started having a lot of interns, and the teachers or physiotherapists there mentioned that it's not that you will have to permanently come; you will have to slowly reduce gradually. Not that you're coming every day. Tomorrow college starts. Stop it. It's not a step function. It needed to be a gradual decline. So we started reducing the involvement in a way that they weren't affected, and we also knew that we had to do that. So then we
Right.
decided, well, we still have the urge to do something, but
Correct.
what to do? And then there was a realization that Sneha Kiran is not the only place which needs volunteers. There might be
Correct.
other places. So I thought, all right,
Correct.
let's form an organization and let's take up causes where people need volunteering support, not funding or not anything to do with donations and so on.
Correct.
We give our time and our energy, and that's all we do. And that's how Project Reach Out came into existence.
Superb, superb. I mean, it's really a very interesting and inspiring story. From where to where, from writing plays, you were introduced, in order to write a play, and then you started something on your own to impact a lot of lives. I mean, that's truly amazing, and kudos to you because I was, just going through the Project Reach Out website, and I also saw that Project Reach Out has impacted more than 10,000 lives with more than 250 events, and also having 1,000+ volunteers. And I mean, I feel very proud to say that I am also one of those volunteers who has impacted a lot of lives, right? So I mean,
That's amazing. Nice to
amazing.
hear. Yeah.
Kudos to you and your team on that. Well, coming back, let's talk about
just one point. Sorry to interrupt. I said just one point.
Yeah.
You said you use some adjectives like very interesting, inspiring. I would say very relatable. That it's easy for people to, it's not some magic that we had someone to fund us and then we did something. No, it was a very organic, relatable process which really, if anybody puts their mind, they could do it.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Also, coming back to your MBA journey, how was MBA different from engineering?
I think that's a very interesting question. And now I think, now that I think about it, engineering was where I was discovering certain things on what I could
Mm.
do and what I could be. In fact, after joining engineering, I also had thoughts of doing law in between a little bit. And so there was a process of discovery that was constantly
Correct.
there. And then sometime I said, okay, no, I'm going to go to the US and do a
Mm.
master's. That was one phase. And then no, I
Mm.
will get a job. That was another phase.
Mm.
And I think in between there was a PACE, event in college, which is Partners for Advancement in Collaboration and Engineering, I believe, which used to
Mm.
happen in Turin, Italy. At that
Okay.
point of time, I decided, okay, I want to go to Italy and I want to do something.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's a constant phase of discovery, and you keep doing something new where you don't know what you're going to do, but it's open. Your life
Right.
is fully open. And for me, MBA was I had a startup Desiadda already, so it was
Mm.
not a phase of discovery for me. It was a phase of strengthening whatever I had already discovered as my passion.
Correct.
So there it was a lot of divergent thinking in engineering, and in MBA it
Mm.
was more of a convergent thought that there was a framework, and whatever I learned, I was relating to that framework. So I knew
Mm.
what I had to do to become more stronger in what I was doing.
Correct. So you told me that you had already started Desiadda before joining MBA, correct? Okay, so I mean, there are a lot of students who can relate to your situation. Okay, a lot of them they are just graduating out of engineering. They have a startup idea. So, and they're in a dilemma. Should I do MBA? Should I do masters? Or should I sit for placements? Or should I continue with my startup idea? Are there any tips that you would like to give folks with this dilemma?
Yeah, I think I also pondered about this a lot, and now looking back, there are certain things that I could put in framework of sorts for this question. But at that moment, so there are two kinds of entrepreneurs, right? For one, people who have a vision and they really want to achieve it, and that's why they become entrepreneurs. And there's another
Mm.
kind, which was mine, where becoming an entrepreneur itself was the reason. And I didn't have any huge problem I wanted to solve or a purpose that I was going
Right.
towards. Just being an
Mm.
entrepreneur itself was an end. I would do whatever idea it took to become an entrepreneur. So that's
To
how my
become
state was. That was
right.
on one side. On the other
Mm.
side, I think I believe, like you said, the studies part of it was never a challenge of sorts for me.
Mm.
So it was challenging, but at times, but it was never something that sparked my interest, or it was not something that posed a great deal of hardship. I would say.
Mm.
I would sit and read, attend tuitions, attend classes, come back, read,
Right.
watch YouTube videos, talk to friends, solve
Mm.
papers, all that, and that's how 10th and second PU and even engineering final year became very
Mm.
simple.
Right.
I had a 610 in 10th and then 579 in PU and
Oh.
700 rank something in CET and
Mm.
9.3 something in engineering. So I
Okay.
felt, well, it's too easy, right? It's like I need something to keep me alive, and I
Right.
wanted to do something more than usual, which was not so conventional. That was just me because I've told in an interview before that from a very young age, I've had this leader bug in me. It might be in class first standard or something when a teacher asked, if you, who, I mean, there was class monitor, right? And I would take my father and ask him to tell the teacher to make me the monitor for a month or for 2 months and so on.
Right.
And then I stood for, there was cups and scouts in my school. I stood for all elections,
Mm.
for the school elections. Even I stood for the class representative elections. I've always been somebody who wanted to be at the front of things and
Super.
not kind of fit in things. I've always had that weird sense of wanting to lead sort of
Mm.
attitude. So hence, after engineering, I felt, hey, here is an opportunity for me to
Mm.
really stand out, do something on my own, and kind of relate to what my inner calling was. So
Right.
that was a passion, sort of a drive that was there,
Mm.
which many entrepreneurs would, like
Mm.
in your to answer your question straight. But the only reason I would say that I was able to take the plunge was because I had supportive parents. There's absolutely no other reason.
Mm.
And logically, I'm the only son for my parents, so I knew that
Mm.
there was no other burden that I had to carry about, you
Mm.
know, being accountable for somebody else's growth, their studies, and all that.
Correct.
And my parents were pretty settled for themselves. I wouldn't call we
Mm.
are the aristocrat or something, but we are comfortable to do.
Mm.
Where father's work keeps him satisfied, and I'm sure he would earn a pension which would keep him
Right.
going, because we don't have too much expectations of living
Correct.
standards or anything. So I knew he could take care of himself. I knew I didn't have any other responsibility, and I
Correct.
had confidence in my ability to get a job
Mm.
in case things didn't go well. So I started entrepreneurship with all these in mind, saying it's okay
Mm.
to fail. If it's situations for people where they have responsibility on them, they have certain loans on them, or their parents they require their support, I wouldn't say plunging into entrepreneurship is a good idea immediately after college. Maybe later in life, it is a good idea, but passion alone will not make you an entrepreneur. You need to be realistic also, and you need to take care of the people with you. And maybe for so people facing the dilemma, always put family at the front of the equation. And if things
Mm.
are okay, then go ahead and dive it. If things are only dependent on you, take every risk possible. You can live with even 100 rupee a month.
Mm. Right. I mean, amazing answer. So, folks who are in a dilemma, this is your answer to the question. So, on a whole, it's not just you who is going to enter into the journey, it's also people who are with you entering into the journey. So, keeping all the factors in mind, so that is when you have to get into the entrepreneurial journey. So, is that right, Adarsh?
Exactly. If it's only up to you,
It's
jump.
on you. Hmm.
But if it's a group of people you have to be accountable for, think about it before jumping.
Correct. I mean, I can definitely relate to your story because in a way, even I feel very lucky to have supportive parents. I've been an entrepreneur from almost 1.5 years now, and my parents have been really, really supportive of, and they have let me take entrepreneurship as a career right after I graduate. So I can definitely relate to your story. And one thing people are really going to be jealous of is your marks.
I think now nobody asks me. It was just back then that it was kind of important.
Correct.
But that's a good thing when you start as an entrepreneur. When I started gifting,
Hmm.
hey, he scored very well. He had corporate jobs, but still he came and did this. So that gave a boost, saying this guy is really doing it for a purpose, and it's not
Ah.
that he's doing because he didn't have anything else to do. So that kind
Hmm.
of helped in giving me a little bit of a nudge.
Super, super. Okay, when you said gifting, let's talk more about Desiadda. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did the idea of Desiadda come to your mind? I mean, I know very vaguely what you do in Desiadda. All I know is you have personalized handicrafts.
Correct.
Okay. So, do you do anything else other than that? Tell me everything about Desiadda.
Okay. So I think, like I was saying about Project Reach Out, we did a project called a project with an orphanage called Asha Dayaka Seva Trust, and
Hmm.
that was in the Medgully area of Mysore.
Hmm.
And the Medgully area of Mysore also has a lot of artisans of Mysore.
Hmm.
So while I was going to Medgully, I would observe these artisans. They used to work on a lot of fine wooden carving and inlay work and handicraft products.
Hmm.
And I think no, I saw them all stocking. There's so many of them in that. I think nearly 600, 700 artisans.
Hmm.
But in the growing ecosystem that was there, e-commerce was kind of in a very trendy place. I think in 2015
Hmm.
more than it is now. I think now
Right.
people have kind of moved a little bit away from e-commerce. It's become very much conventional. But
Correct.
then, the idea was you could become, the next Sachin Bansal or the next Flipkart if you had an e-commerce startup. So I thought, hey, here's a group of people who's very, very much talented in arts
Hmm.
and crafts work, and they don't really have the openness or the understanding of digital marketing or a social
Hmm.
media or an e-commerce kind of an ecosystem. And here I was with knowledge of only the e-commerce kind of an ecosystem, but nothing to do with actual making of these handicraft products.
Hmm.
So they weren't threatening to me. I wasn't threatening to them.
Hmm.
So that became an easy fit to say, let me do this thing and assume that it was going to be a very easy ride. Start a website, take a few pictures, put it on the website, it will sell. And
Hmm.
that journey, that initial thing is something that I will never forget. We launched the website. most of the friends and families ordered, and I was like, this is going very well. And 3 days later, the zero orders, right? And then we gave a 50% discount, nothing worked. We gave a 70% discount, nothing worked. Got frustrated and said, let's make it zero and let's see what happened. We put free all products. Nobody bought. We put the link on WhatsApp, Facebook, everything. Still nobody bought. And then they're like, hey, where am I going wrong? I wanted to become the next, the Sachin Bansal, and then what's happening? And later I realized that just having a website doesn't make sense. There is much more to it than meets the eye. And that's when I started digging. And then I found out that most of these handicraft buyers, if I do a buyer persona classification, they're either people who want to collect it and keep it in their house, where they would look at fine craftsmanship and quality works. And the artisan community has two types of people. Again, one who do extremely quality products, and one who are not so skilled, but they do, products.
Okay.
So only skilled artisans sell for people with a collector's kind of a mindset, and they know each other already, so they didn't go through me. And the other segment of people, they did not want to buy it. I mean, why do I want handicraft? What do I do with it? So then they said, it might make sense if you do it as a gifting, as a memento, or as a souvenir sort. That was a few well-wishers who told at the start. Then I started telling these guys, let's do mementos, let's do something Mysore related. Then we started doing these miniatures of Mysore Palace, Clock Tower, Elephant Card, CR Circle, KR Circle, and all those tiny miniatures. And that took off well. Many people started taking them for their events and all that. And that's how the journey evolved, where we say we do corporate gifting items sourced from local artisans. We don't do China-made products or any products that kind of destroy the market for these artisans. But that's the core, and that's what Desiadda is doing: corporate gifting from local artisans.
Cool. So I think this is a clear-cut example of why pivoting is really important in a startup, because a lot of people just go with their initial idea and they don't let go of that initial idea. They're stuck with the idea, and they're not open for pivoting. Probably in your case, pivoting is something which really helped Desiadda take off.
It's about people say they only do what they want as entrepreneurs. They don't consider what their customers want.
Correct. Exactly. And also, like, do you have a tie-up with the local artisans, or how do you manage the whole supply chain?
Yes, we have tie-ups with a lot of artisans. It's a network of artisans in Mysore, Channapatna, and various places. And we source from them. In some cases, we also have certain units where we contract them on a monthly basis and so on, where we give them works when it comes, and then they make it and they customize it and give. Most of our products are made to order. It's not buy right off the shelf. So there are display items, but you see it, you order, and then you get it. You don't come and just purchase.
Okay. And on an average, how long does it take for the memento or the gift to reach the buyer?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question.
On an average, how long does it take for the memento or the gift to reach the buyer? What is the time taken?
I think in corporate, when we're seeing most of it is bulk orders that we do, and that's the market that has worked for us more than a B2C kind of an ecosystem. So in bulk, maybe some 50 pieces, 100 pieces, that's the kind of orders we get. And it takes usually 3 days, a week, 15 days, depending on the size of the product, the complexity of the work, and the quantity with which we get the orders.
Okay, so
but it's faster, I would say faster than whatever they can get it by themselves.
Oh, right. And do you have any offline competitors?
I mean, in a broad sense, anyone doing gifting is our competitor, because companies want to buy from somebody who gives them for a very lesser price. They don't mind. I mean, not everybody cares whether it's India made or non-India made. I mean, good impetus given by the government of Make in India, vocal for local and all of that, which has given a little bit of an impetus. But I would still say corporate gifting vendors, the companies try to buy from anybody for that matter. They're not particularly inclined towards handmade products itself. So we have a little bit of machine that helps these artisans, because we need to change with the evolving time. There's a theory that some people dispute this and say it's not handmade sometimes when we do a machine engraving or a machine aided carving. But I would like to see it as tools are tools, right? So initial crafts people used to do things with their own hand, and then there was a chisel that came into picture, and then they had different tools like lathe and all of that to help them with the cutting, and then they had
Correct.
these the spray gun and all of that. Initially they would do manual spray and polish,
Mm.
and now we are giving them laser machines. So it's a natural evolution. While the world is evolving technologically, if we don't give technology advantage to artisans, I think their traditions and everything would die
True,
out.
true, 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 true. I think the same with in the agricultural field as well. Technology is a boon which can kind of help each and everyone to
Correct.
evolve.
I think my definition is, as long as technology is aiding somebody, it's good to use, not
Mm.
replacing. So if I use a 3D printer to create a product which an artisan is creating and put him out of job, then I think that's where I
Correct,
draw the line. But if it's
correct,
a machine that would help him fine tune most of the manual work that goes into, say, things like polishing or adding a branding or creating base and all of that, I think those things can be kind of made a little bit more mechanized, so he or she can
Mm.
produce more quantities and spend their time on their core skill rather than the peripherals that go into the product.
True, agreed. And also, are most of your products related to Mysuru, or is it like a generalist
I mean,
product?
the original idea was to do it more broad, but now most of it is related to Mysore, because Mysore
Okay.
itself is a huge universe, and there's so many people in Mysore whose products are renowned across the world. So sticking to the roots of Mysore itself is quite a competitive advantage and gives us
Mm.
a good niche.
Right. So for the viewers, whoever wants to order personalized handicraft gifts, so Desiadda is the place to do. So I have also put the link of Desiadda